Well, good morning, good day, good afternoon. I just realized it's morning for us, but not necessarily for whoever's watching. Or when you're watching. So, thank you for joining us. Again, this is Between Two Beths, our second May episode this month. We are very happy to be here, and we're very happy that you decided to join us and watch us. Hi, Beth. How are you?
I'm great, Beth. How are you today?
I'm doing good, except for a bit of a thing in my throat, so I might sound a little different today. So here we go. I'm going to introduce myself and then turn it over to Beth for her introduction and the rest of what we're going to talk about. So I am Beth M. I am a nutrition and health coach. Is that right? Yeah, nutrition and health coach. Didn't even feel like it was sounding right. But anyways, holistic. Maybe that's why I forgot it. Turned champion for the midlife caregiver. I love health and nutrition, and I love helping the midlife caregiver take care of herself after 2 seasons of my own caregiving for others, my mom and a friend. Um, I knew that there had to be women out there that weren't taking care of themselves, just like I struggled with during my seasons of caregiving. So that's what I've turned my attention to, is helping women through in the nutrition and the coaching and things like that. But I've also created digital products that help meet her where she's at. A lot of times when you're in caregiving, you don't have time to set up a Zoom even. You don't have time to do a lot of things for yourself. You need something that's right in front of you on your phone, on your computer, that helps you immediately in the moment. And that's what I have. So if you're interested, at the end of the episode, we'll share that. But for now, that's what I do. I love helping women in general. And I love being a part of Between Two Beths. This has been a really fun adventure for Beth and I. And so, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Beth to introduce herself and to move on.
Okay, thank you, Beth. I'm Beth Y. We really are between two Beths. We get a giggle out of it. But we thought it was important. I mean, at each beginning of each episode, we tell a little bit about our background, but we thought it was very important to tell our whole stories, so that it could be a form of alignment for you. Um, I mean, many of you know that I'm a certified life coach, I'm a transition specialist, and that I'm a widow. And my husband passed away on my birthday 6 years ago, right before COVID. But there's a lot more to my story that I really haven't told in full. And in full disclosure, I will tell you that I'm currently in the process of writing a book. My goal is to have it out and published by the end of the year. Now I said it out loud, put my feet to the fire. I have to figure out how to publish it. But this is the first time I'm telling the whole story, and I'm calling it Beyond. As you people know, that Beyond is the name of my business, and it really encompasses so much. Um, I've learned over time that emotional vulnerability is the hardest and deepest form of vulnerability. And it's certainly not easy, but it is cathartic. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm embracing my truths. I'm no longer ashamed to tell my whole story.
Good for you.
For years, I searched for the clean edges of my story, where it began, where it ended, hoping to find clarity in the symmetry. But life unfolds in layers, in quiet intersections of choices, moments, and identities that shape who we become. So, my professional journey has spanned the corridors of both private enterprise and federal service. Today, I stand in a new chapter as a certified life coach and transition specialist. And I am devoted to helping people going through major life changes, specializing in helping widowed individuals move from mere survival to rediscovering life's fullness.
Mm.
This work is just not professional to me, it's profoundly personal. I walk in this path because I've lived it. I am a widow, but that's only part of my truth. As an infant, I was placed into the foster care system. I was born with a genetic defect, and my biological mother was a teenage mother, and she could not care for me. So I was adopted as an infant in England, and my adoptive family moved to the United States, where I have been since I was 3. Um, During that time, when I was 6, my adoptive parents divorced.
Mm.
Um, I don't really remember a lot of it, but I went and lived with my adoptive mother while the rest of my siblings stayed with my adoptive father. Um, I should probably clarify that there were 4 of us. 2 of them were their biological children. And then there was my brother, who I am not biologically related to, but was also adopted, and then me. Um, During my childhood, I survived sexual abuse and
Mm.
mental abuse by my stepfather.
Mm.
He's no longer with us today. When I was in my 20s,
Mm.
um, I endured the terror of a stalker
Oh
who
my.
was ultimately institutionalized. I ended up moving because of it. Um, I would moonlight as a bartender on the weekends. I was young, didn't wasn't making any money. I was making more money in the bar than what I call my real job.
Yeah.
But they developed an obsession with me, and it got to the point where they never. It was that I would every time I left my apartment, they would call, breathe on my phone. That was back in the days of answering machines,
Mm.
and hang up just to let me know that they knew that I was leaving. And this went on for 6 months or more. I went to the police, and because nothing had been done, no threats were made, et cetera, there was nothing they could do. Um, but I felt that I was at risk. I
Mhm.
ended up moving to a different city because of it. That person actually developed an obsession with somebody else
Mm.
and attacked them one night.
Oh my.
A lot of legal things happened, and then they were institutionalized. Um, I was very driven when I was
Mm.
younger, professionally,
Mhm.
because it was part of my identity, I think, now as I look back on it.
Yeah.
But when I was in my late 30s, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune systemic form of arthritis.
Mm.
I was on the top of the game professionally,
Mm.
um, but I was in a very high stress, high pressure position, and I just couldn't physically, I couldn't do it anymore. It took them a long time to really, if you know anything about autoimmune, they can be very hard to diagnose. Many symptoms mimic each other. So anyway, I had to step away from my career and reinvent myself professionally. It took 2 years to finally get things under control.
Mm.
So I went back to work in a different capacity, um, not with the same company, and ultimately I was able to transition into federal service. Um, but the thing I want people to know
Mm.
is that these experiences have not defined me, but they inform everything I do. Um, they are the threads woven into the fabric of my being. Um, and you are the sum of your parts, the
Yes.
good, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent.
Yeah.
Now, many of you know that, I work as a life coach. This is the most fulfilling job I've ever had.
Mhm.
I took a huge pay cut, but I
Understood.
woke up. Yeah. So, my husband passed away unexpectedly. And as I said, he passed away on my birthday, right before COVID hit. I spent 2 years in near isolation. Um, and as we know, the world shut down. I was actually in Ecuador in March of 2020 with my sister. Um, and we were told we were in the Amazon and we were told the borders were shutting down that night and we had to get out of country fast. We were on a tour, so fortunately we had resources. Um, and that the closest airport was minimally 6 hours away. And at the time we were told this, it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We had to get in kayaks with our luggage and go across the river and get on a bus. Um, it it was an incredible experience, both good and bad, right?
Yes.
Because there was a lot of panic. There's not a whole lot of internet in the Amazon either. I'll forewarn you. Thankfully, we were able to get a hold of my aunt, and we told her to just get us on any plane in the U.S.
Yeah, good job.
Um, en route to the airport, um, there was it was pouring down rain, and we we looked up. We came to a stop, a complete stop, and all you could see were brake lights
Oh,
out the front window, and we were we were starting to panic because it was getting close.
wow.
Um, so the tour guide finally got off and walked up and came back. There was a landslide, and they were bringing in heavy equipment to clear the road.
Oh,
So once we got through that, we finally got to the airport. It was pandemonium, as you can imagine.
yes.
Um, we did get flights, um, and we left the country at 11:55 p.m.
Oh
on a
my.
flight. Get back, slept for 18 hours straight because I had been up for about 48 hours with no sleep.
Yes.
Got up and the world had shut down,
Yeah.
literally. I got a call from my boss that said we were working remotely until we were told otherwise.
Oh,
That ended up being 2 years. Um, I had moved well, my husband and I, before he passed away, had moved to a small condo because we had built a house at the beach. And he was getting ready to retire. I had several more years to go. And I did not want to take care of two houses at one time. And I also knew that once he retired, he was going to be at the beach. He wasn't going to be around. So I needed something
yeah.
small for me. That was both a
Yeah.
blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I said, one thing I will share is that with my husband, his death was unexpected. His death was due to a prescription medication that turned toxic. It essentially poisoned him to death. He was in the hospital for 13 days, 11 in ICU.
Mm,
And then, as I said, he passed away on my birthday. But I'm digressing a little bit, but I think that's an important fact.
yeah.
Um, so the world shut down, my world shut down for 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, I'm I'm immunocompromised, so I had to be extremely careful. I did not see my family. My sister left when we got back from Ecuador, and I saw her once 6 months later, very briefly. And my parents were elderly. The vaccines had not come out. I literally spent that first year by myself in an 825 square foot
Mm,
apartment condo with a balcony. I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go grocery shopping. So to minimize my risk.
yeah.
Um, it was there were whole months. I don't remember. I mean, I know I got up, I worked, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I acquired a cat, which was a new experience for me. Um, at the time, people were dropping their pets in the shelters because people weren't working. They couldn't afford food for themselves and their kids, and
Yes.
the animal shelters were overflowing. And I thought, all right, this can be my civic duty, right? And well, he was my foster kitty for about a week, and then about a couple $100 later on Amazon, I filled out the adoption papers, and he's still with me today. Um, so he's my first cat. I've always been a dog person. So, we went back to work in, let's say, May of 2022 was when we went back in person. We had to show proof of vaccination, both of them, because
Mm.
that was when you had to do the two-part vaccination,
Wow.
and things were hunky dory. And then about 5 weeks after we went back to work, we got COVID and long COVID.
Mm.
So I was back at home again
Mm.
for about mm, 6 months. And my position was such, it was very unique in that um, I had a lot of exposure to international people,
Oh.
people who traveled internationally. And I had asked to redefine my position
Mm.
so that I wouldn't have that exposure to the international people,
People.
people who traveled a lot
Yeah.
because of health reasons.
Sure.
Um, and, they were willing to work with me a bit, but ultimately I decided, like in 2023, yeah, I think it was Valentine's Day 2023. I woke up and I decided that my health wasn't for sale.
Yeah.
And I was at a point too, things had changed because of COVID. The job changed quite a bit. It wasn't fulfilling
Hmm.
anymore. I wasn't
Yeah.
really satisfied anymore. It just wasn't filling my cup.
Yeah.
And part of that was the position, part of it was me because I had changed so much because of everything I had gone through.
Of course.
Um, so a former colleague of mine, former federal employee, um, I kind of ran into them on social media and I saw that they were now coaching. So
Nice.
I asked if I could actually have some of their time to kind of pick their brain.
Oh, good.
And she was gracious and did, and gave me a lot of tips and such. And so I started investigating and researching coaching. Now she does career coaching, leadership coaching, um, there's all kinds of coaching. We all know that, right? Um, but that was something I decided I was really interested in. And I decided that I wanted to go through, as I explained, I had all these life changes throughout my life,
Yeah.
the most significant of which was the loss of my husband.
Of course.
But I decided that it was something I really, really wanted to do.
Nice.
So I submitted my papers to the federal government, um, gave them 6 months, which was actually quite a bit of time considering, but I had a very unique position and I reported directly to the boss. And so it's a hard position to define. Most government positions, are very black and white.
Yeah.
That's the thing I liked about my position is it was very gray. I could walk in each day and I'd never know what I was up against. Um, so, I gave him plenty of time and um, I decided a couple other things. Um, I decided if I was going to be a coach, I wanted to get the credentials.
Mm.
I wanted to make sure, particularly in the areas of coaching, which I was focusing on, I wanted to make sure that I felt confident in my abilities
Mm.
to help others.
Hmm.
Um, and when you're dealing with major life changes, grief, widowhood,
Hmm.
I just wanted to make sure I had a toolkit um, filled with tools
Yeah.
that I was comfortable with and I was comfortable helping people with.
Nice.
Um, so I sold I sold my condo. Um, actually, I started building a house. Um, I moved back to be closer to my family.
Mm,
Um, my had gotten COVID a couple times, um, two times really bad, um, and it scared me,
mm,
right? Because here I was by myself,
yeah,
and nobody could get to me.
yeah,
So for my own safety, I felt it important for me to move back closer to my family.
yeah,
I was living in the Washington, D.C. area, um, which is a very high cost of living. Okay. Um, so also, I had to pay for my schooling. Um,
yeah.
I was fortunate in that I didn't work while I was in school. I just focused on school.
Oh, good.
And so I built a small house closer to my family.
Nice.
Um, and I went back to school and I sold my condo, I sold the beach house, I sold it all.
Mm,
Uh, so when I left the federal government, which is at the end of August 2023, was when I left. Um, First, I went to Greece for 2 weeks. Um, as a as a gift to myself, I reserved some money, went to Greece for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Um, and again, I came back with what I call Greek COVID, and that was the worst bout of COVID I had yet.
Mm,
Um, and so I was in the process of moving. I settled on my condo before I went to Greece, but I came back and I had 2 weeks to get out.
okay.
And I had to move, pack everything up, go to settlement on the new house, all with COVID. And then I got a bacterial lung infection on top of it. So I was pretty
Mm,
sick.
yeah.
Um, so I was able to move back. My parents are currently 91 and 98. So that was a big part of the decision as well. I am a part-time caregiver for my 91-year-old mother. And for all you out here, I am so proud of my mom. And I'll just say this and leave it rest. Um, my parents' marriage has been chaotic for years.
Mm,
About 6 weeks ago, my 91-year-old mother left my 98-year-old father. It took so much courage for her to do that.
mhm,
And I tell you that is because, and when I say my mother, let me clarify this. I've talked about my biological mother, talked about my adoptive mother, but the woman who raised me was my stepmother. All right. And so when I say mother, I mean stepmother.
ah,
Um, and I think that's important that I've said before, particularly given my own circumstances, the family we choose
mm,
is there's the family we're born into, and in my case, adopted into. Then there's the family we choose.
yeah.
Now, the other part of this story, too, is that um, shortly before my birthday last year, my biological mom reached out to me.
Mm,
I didn't even know she was still alive.
wow.
And she said that she wants to meet me.
Wow. Mm,
So I put a lot of thought into it.
mhm,
And I decided if I don't do that, I will always regret it.
yes.
And as one of my clients likes to say, she likes to tell me I only have so much runway left, right?
Yeah.
And so I only have so much runway left, but she only has so much runway left too.
That's right.
So I have made the decision to fly to Europe in September
Mm,
and meet her. So that'll be,
congratulations.
yeah. So I started writing my book. Took me a long time to build up the courage to start writing it.
Yeah.
But I realized I'm no longer ashamed.
Awesome.
Actually, I have nothing to be ashamed about.
That's right, you
And it's taken me a long
don't.
time to get to that point to be able to say that.
Yeah,
And so, the book is not about where my story starts or ends. It's about what lies beyond. It's about the resilience, the reclamation, and the reclaiming of self.
yeah,
And I've decided in order for me to live the rest of my life the way I want to, I have to tell this story.
yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, Beth, first thing I want to say is congratulations. And yet that sounds wrong, but congratulations for the book. Congratulations for the decision about your biological mom and the life of fullness that you've actually chosen to live beyond each step that you've been through as you've been sharing this with me. And I want it to be clear too that Beth and I have shared a lot about our past, but I didn't know all of these things about Beth either. Every time you would share something, you also shared what was beyond that for you and how you did go beyond each of those steps. And so I applaud you and congratulate you for living a life that way. And want to say that anybody who works with you along the lines of who you help will just be blessed and helped because of the type of person you are. That was amazingly inspiring and vulnerable, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure our listeners will as well. I put a couple notes down here. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't want to say anything else other than too that I'm sorry for everything that you've lived through. Some of our lives, we've all heard or read biographies or heard of people's stories, and usually for me, and yours is no different, I always think my life has been vanilla, very bland, very uneventful compared to yours. So I do want to thank you for sharing it with me and honoring me and trusting me to hold your story, as well as our listeners and viewers. So, did you have anything else you wanted to say or anything about your business or how people can get in touch with you or not? Or how would you like to end? Because I can share that if anybody's interested in being in touch with me as a caregiver, you can get in touch with me at bethmeetcoach.com. But today is more about Beth, so I'll let her share how you might be in touch with her and the final word for today.
Yeah, so thank you, Beth, for all your kind words and your support. Um,
It's my pleasure.
I have two words I like to describe, I think of when I think about myself, and that is I am done. I am. I
Okay.
am the sum of all my broken parts. I am my own warrior. I am the hero of my own story at times, but mostly I am. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. If anybody, wants to reach out, you can reach me at beth@beyondcoaching.com. Now you understand the significance of the word beyond to me.
Yeah.
Um, my website is, www.coachingbybeth.com. Um, and as you can tell from my story, um, we all go through changes, right? We all go through major life changes. I've had my fair share.
Mhm.
And but do I regret it? No. It's made me who I am. But if you need help figuring that out for yourself, I'm here. Reach out.
Yeah. Amen. Awesome. Well, with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you,
Bye,
Beth.
everyone.
Bye bye.